evening. I'd like to call this meeting of the Board of Selectmen for the Town of Sheffield to order on May 3rd, 2022. I want to let you know that CTSB is recording this. You may also do the same if you just let the chair know. And if anyone can't hear, you might consider moving a little closer or just raise your hand and we'll talk louder, okay? So with that, our first item is approval of meeting minutes. And is there a motion on this?
I'll make a motion.
Quiet.
I make a motion that we approve the select board meeting minutes from April 4th, 2022, April 5th, 2022, 3 sets, April 14th, 2022, and April 19th, 2022.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Our next item is action regarding the clerk of the select board. I will later in the meeting thank Martin for his past 3 years of service, but Martin has chosen not to run for re-election, so that election will take place a week from today. What I would like to do is have the board currently consider appointing a new clerk in Martin's place if that is needed prior to the time that the full board meets. I say that because I'm not going to be at a meeting or two over the next couple of weeks, and I would just like to have the next in line appointed for the clerk, because that position sits in for the chair and runs the meetings if there's no chair present.
I'm not sure what it is that I'm willing to do.
You're not going to do anything.
Okay, because after the 10th, I won't be here.
That's why I'm looking to have a new clerk appointed.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Bob as the clerk.
I will second that. Is there any discussion? We could make that effective May 8th, if you wish, or May 9th, after 9 p.m., when the polls are closed.
After May 9th at 9 p.m.
When the polls are closed. Okay, so we have an amended motion. I'll second that amended motion. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Good. Okay, fine.
And give me a call if you need help. I can unofficially help if you want me to.
Okay, wonderful. Our next item is announcement of the expiring terms for town positions. This will be posted on the webpage, and we had some comments at last night's town meeting about people who wanted to get involved. So there are plenty of opportunities for people to just drop a short note to Rhonda or send something through the mail. It cannot be just a call, and you can just say, I'd like to be considered for what the position is, and then your name is in the running. So who wants to read, please? Okay, Rhonda.
Agricultural Commission, 4 vacancies. Agricultural Commission alternate, 2 vacancies. Animal Control Officer, 1 vacancy. Animal Inspector, 1 vacancy. Ashley Falls Historic District Commission, 2 vacancies. Ashley Falls Historic District Commission alternate, 2 vacancies. BRPC Delegate, 1 vacancy. BRPC Delegate Alternate, 1 vacancy. Board of Assessors, 2 vacancies. Board of Health, 4 vacancies. Board of Registrars, 1 vacancy. Building Inspector, 1 vacancy. Cemetery Commission, 1 vacancy. Commission on Disabilities, 2 vacancies. Conservation Commission, 1 vacancy. Conservation Commission alternate, 2 vacancies. Constable, 2 vacancies. Council on Aging, 2 vacancies. Cultural Council, 3 vacancies. Electrical Inspector, 1 vacancy. Electrical Inspector Assistant, 1 vacancy. Emergency Management Coordinator, 1 vacancy. Finance Committee, 2 vacancies. Fire Chief, 1 vacancy. 5-Town Cable Advisory, 3 vacancies. Gas and Plumbing Inspector, 1 vacancy. Gas and Plumbing Inspector Alternate, 1 vacancy. Historical Commission, 3 vacancies. Housing Commission, 1 vacancy. Housing Commission Alternate, 2 vacancies. Planning Board Alternate Member, 1 vacancy. Plumbing Inspector, 1 vacancy. Plumbing Inspector Assistant, 1 vacancy. Public Weigher, 4 vacancies. Recycling Coordinator, 1 vacancy. Sanitation Inspector, 1 vacancy. Southern Berkshire District Veterans Service Delegate, 1 vacancy. Town Council, 1 vacancy. Veterans Agent, 1 vacancy. Zoning Board of Appeals, 2 vacancies. And a Zoning Board of Appeals Alternate, 1 vacancy.
Yeah, let's just point out that the BRPC delegate, that needs to come from the planning board. And also with the finance committee is, I always get this wrong, recommended or nominated by the town moderator.
They're appointed with ratification from the Board of Selectmen.
So if someone is interested in the finance committee, if you send a note to Rhonda or Jill, they will forward it to Bill Ty, the moderator, if he's elected on next week. But he is the one who makes that decision. And for those people whose terms are currently expiring and are in these positions you just read off, they will get a letter.
Yes.
Asking them if they are interested in having their name considered for another appointment. Most of these are for 3 years. Is there any other clarification that's needed? We're all good with this, but there's plenty of opportunities for people to get involved. Okay, thank you very much, Rhonda. Our next item is an appointment announcement on the Council of Aging. Rhonda, would you handle this for us, please?
So we've received a letter from Elsie Gilligan, who is volunteering or put her name in to be appointed to the Sheffield Council on Aging. She loves volunteering at the center and she wished to continue to do so. There's a big need for elder service care in our community. And she's worked with the elderly at Fairview Commons for 13 years in different departments. So action at the next meeting.
Okay. There's no immediate need, so we'll...
Well, they're down 1 member, but I don't think
Okay.
it's an immediate
So the
need
next
for that
meeting.
one.
Okay, all right. So that was an announcement. All right. Next, appointment to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Rhonda, please.
So we have a letter from Catherine Miller. Please accept this as confirmation of her willingness to serve as a member of the Sheffield Zoning Board of Appeals until such time as the current matter is resolved that's before the Zoning Board of Appeals.
And this came about because Catherine was appointed as an alternate.
Catherine's been an alternate for several years, and we need another full board member because somebody had to not be involved in the case that's coming up.
Okay, excellent.
I'll make a motion that we appoint Catherine Miller to the Sheffield Zoning Board of Appeals until such time as the current matter before the ZBA is resolved.
Second.
And after this matter is heard by the ZBA, Catherine would go back to being an alternate unless she...
If she requests to be appointed again as an alternate when she gets her
because that would
letter.
be, alternates are always 1 year, and that would be up in the June, start of July. We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Thank you, Catherine.
Yes, thank you very much, Catherine. Next, there's discussion, possible action regarding an offer of land donation.
So we've received a call from a real estate agent who has said that there are residents in town, Nicola, or they don't live in town, I'm sorry, property owners, Nicola and Maria LaRocca, who own property at 0 Ginger Lane, would be looking to donate their property to the town if it was something that the town was interested in. The taxes are current. on the piece of property.
So Ginger Lane is located
Berkshire Lake Estates.
Berkshire Lake Estates, and this is slightly under a quarter of an acre, it looks like. All right. Is there, let's see if there's questions.
My only question is the property usable for anything, or is it too small in that area to have the proper setbacks?
That's always the question at Berkshire Lake Estates, because there's never been an answer on exactly what can be built over there because of the way it was divided up years ago.
They have their own rules and regulations, but a lot of homeowners have been interested in buying adjacent land because you put enough of these parcels together, and if you watch the real estate, that has really been happening. You put enough of these together, and then you've got room for the septic system and the well. And there has been a fair amount of building going on out there. So, Martin, what about your questions?
I don't have any questions. It's a generous offer, and I wouldn't see why the town wouldn't accept it as long as there are no liabilities with the view to potentially selling town property.
The only objection that I would have is if it's not a usable piece of property, are we going to be able to get enough around it to make it a usable piece of property? Right now, it's on the tax rolls and they're paying taxes.
Right.
Maybe they should try and reach out to their abutters and see if one of them is interested in purchasing. I mean, we could certainly do that and try to make the money off it, but it's a lot of work to do.
So its assessed value is, I think this is a very generous offer, but I do think that the town needs to consider what the cost of the offer is. Right now, I think its appraised value is a little under $9,000. My question would be what's around it, and I haven't been out there in a while. It sounds like it's an empty lot because it's vacant land. If there's housing around it, then potentially it does have value that someone would want to purchase it. So I would possibly think a little bit more work is needed. I don't know whether Tammy or Blackwell, our assessor, would be able to tell us what would be around it. And
We don't know if there's any materials that are sitting on that piece of property at this time that may be hazardous or...
I know nothing about the piece of property. So.
I think a visual, just a minute, George, I think a visual inspection of the land and kind of, I think this is generous, but I think we should be very, very cautious. So I think we need to do some work.
Okay.
And George, what was your comment, please?
Yeah.
You have to go to the microphone and name and address, please.
George Lane, Foley Road. All the time I've lived here, most of that land was extremely wet. And talking with some people that I know that lived in there, you had to have a couple parcels where you wanted to put the house as well as land otherwise, because to make up the acreage and the roads, the width of the road is not 50 foot as the town requires, nor will they be blocked out. And I think we're opening up a can of worms if we were to accept it.
Thank you. I have the same opinion until we do a little bit more research to see. So let us put this off until the next meeting if that research has been done. All right. Are we ready to move on?
We are. Yes.
Okay. All right. Our next item is ratification of appointment of our opioid representative. I think we had taken this up at the last meeting, but it was not officially on the agenda, so it's now on the agenda. And Martin Mitzoff has really been the one who brought this to the board's attention. What was that, Martin? Almost 3 years ago?
I think so.
Yeah, and has been kind of dogging this and handling a lot of the correspondence and just staying on top of it. And of course, those settlements are now beginning to come forth, and the town is in line for some compensation, which will have to be appropriately used. But also, it would be good to have, as we decided as a board, someone to continue to do this, so it would be his focus rather than putting it one more thing into the town administrator's office. So we nominated Martin. He accepted. There was a second, and we all voted yes. So do we need to do another vote? No. Or just a verbal? We've ratified that vote. Okay. Thank you, Martin.
You're welcome.
So let's move on to discussion action regarding the cost of transfer station stickers. And Rhonda will let you bring this forward.
Sure. So based on the budget that was passed last night at the town meeting, it's my recommendation that the regular stickers would be $190 this year, and then the late fee will be $205. A senior, anyone over the age of 70, would be at $135 with a late fee of $150. Recycling stickers at $80, and the bulky waste coupons that can be used also for mattresses would go to $25, and 2 would be handed out with the purchase of a sticker.
So you're increasing the prices on, what is wrong?
The scroll just turned up too much. It just needs to be turned down a smidgen. I think it is that one, the master.
No, down the other one.
No.
Definitely not that.
There you go. All right, so let's try that. Oh, now that we're all deaf, let's try that again. So, Rhonda, what you're proposing is about a $5 increase
On the sticker prices.
on the sticker prices.
And on the coupons, the bulky
Yeah.
waste coupons.
The recycling, I think this will be out in the letter that we send out annually. The recycling is really all of the recycling,
Yes.
okay? And so it's just really not solid waste disposal. So it's a really good deal.
It is. It allows the electronics box, the batteries, the light bulbs, the regular recycling, the food, paper. The only
Mattresses.
thing that's excluded would be the solid waste, the
Right.
trash.
Right. And do we allow the recycling sticker to use the bulky waste?
Yes, because they would purchase a coupon.
Okay. Now, if we have, we've had to raise, I think this is all being raised, particularly the coupon price, because things have just gotten to be more expensive from the haulers. If we were to do $25 a coupon, then for mattresses, would that now be 1 or 2?
2, it would cost you $50 to dispose of 1 mattress.
Okay, that's 1 mattress piece. Okay, the prices have gone up on that. The town has been subsidized for the last umpteen years because of a grant that Rhonda got us for mattress recycling, and that grant from the state is over
Yes.
sometime very soon. Okay, so comments?
Sounds reasonable to me. I'll make a motion that we approve transfer station sticker fees for fiscal year /23, regular $190, late fee $205, senior rate $135, late $150, recycling sticker $80, coupons $25 for bulky waste and mattresses, noting that 2 were given with the purchase of a sticker.
I'll second.
The only thing I think we have to caution is this year we had to raise the cost of the coupon because we had considerable increases from the bulky waste people. And if we have to do that again, we'll have to do it. But the sticker prices will be set. I think the coupon would be the only thing that would be in play.
Right.
Frank, sound good to you?
Copy of that.
What?
When it's official.
Yes, when it's official, we'll get you, okay, all right. So, any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And Rhonda, I know you have to get the letter put together. But this year, again, are we encouraging people to basically send, when they get the letter, send it back in, and we'll send back the sticker rather than coming in?
Yes, we would encourage to purchase online or to send in by mail or put in the Dropbox. We also are considering, I guess, the idea of having a senior work-off person for a set amount of hours each week that would be here in this room where people could come in if they absolutely had to.
Set schedule.
Set schedule.
Okay.
Set schedule.
Right, okay. Yeah, okay. I just want to warn you that if you do go online and purchase, there is a fee that is charged by the processor. It doesn't come to the town, it's charged by the processor.
But also, if you do mail in your check, you should include, are we including a self-addressed?
That's great, yes, if people would include a self-addressed stamped envelope with their check for mailing
So
back.
that they can get the
Yes.
stickers.
The other thing we've done is we have also attached them to the front door, so it's easier for people to come by and grab them after hours. So that's not out of the question either, if someone needs to do it that way.
Yeah, when town hall is closed or after hours, sometimes you go by and there's all these little envelopes, and it makes it very convenient for people.
It does.
It does, so, all right, wonderful. So our next one is action regarding a curb cut, and this is for between 250 and 222 Water Farm Road. We have the information in front of us. I guess the work they're looking for right now is to rough in the driveway.
Yes.
And it's been signed by the appropriate people. Rhonda, does this mean that they will come back if they're going to asphalt that driveway or such? Or will we see them again, or this is kind of finished?
This would be finished because we would put down exactly what's going to be required for the driveway to be installed. And if it's just an asphalt apron afterwards, then they'll know, right, that it's in
Okay,
here.
wonderful.
So they have not answered the question, culvert required. It says yes or no.
That would be from the highway. I'll talk to the highway
Okay,
guys.
okay.
So we still then do need to have this reviewed by the highway.
Well, actually, no, I've already talked with Bill
Okay.
at the highway, and he has given permission to sign off on it, which is where you'll see here, but I'll ask him about the culvert.
Okay, just only because it's one of the questions and it
Okay.
wasn't answered.
Any other questions?
I make a motion that
Just a
we,
minute. Sir?
May I ask where a curb cut is?
It's the installation of a driveway off of a public way. We have to give permission and have our police chief and our highway both take a look at it to make sure that it's going to be safe and constructed properly.
Go ahead, Martin.
Oh, I did. I was just nodding.
Yes.
It's a good question. Thank you.
I think you were going to make a motion?
Yes, I'll make a motion that we approve the request for a street curb cut for Carly Shefferoft, pending the discussions, pending the determination of whether a culvert is required or not.
second.
Any further discussions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Next, discussion possible action on letter to Mass DOT regarding speeding on Route 7A. I brought this letter to the board. We have...
George, Catherine, I'm sorry, but thank you.
We've received a couple of comments from residents who live, I would say, in the 7A Ashley Falls Village District, from kind of where the flashing light is up to about School Street. There are a number of families with children in that area. They are concerned about speeding. I know that there is a whole procedure that you go through since this is a Mass DOT road, but I thought maybe we could bring it to the regional director's attention and kind of start that conversation. She has been very gracious to the town of Sheffield. I think they just finished resurfacing 7A.
Not yet.
They're in the process.
A day or two.
Okay, that's a huge job. And so this was just kind of the first request for them to look at it. And of course, we need board approval or changes, whatever.
I'm good with the letter. I would make a motion that we approve the letter as drafted for select board signatures.
I don't approve. I don't think it's necessary. I grew up on that section of road. The speed limit is 30 miles an hour. I don't know how much more you want to lower it, but the speed is also 30 miles an hour on Ranipo with a narrower road, more corners with children. You can't. I have no problem with people wanting their children to be safe and everything to be nice, but at 30 miles an hour, it is not a hazard zone. Now, some people do not obey the speed limit, but that's a whole other issue. I can't see requesting the state and going through all process just to lower the speed limit, maybe 5 miles an hour.
The only comment I have, and those are all fair points, Bob, I think simply to let DOT know that this is an issue, maybe they have other recommendations, and maybe it's not, maybe it wouldn't be lowering the speed, it might be something else, but at least to keep the conversation going.
There might even be signage that children play area, children head.
Yeah.
I see that. I mean, it's not our road. We don't have permission to put signage up on it.
I have no problem if they want to put children at play or thickly settled or whatever they want to do with maybe signage, but I would not spend a lot of time and effort on this particular issue.
Would you prefer to see the letter indicate that what we're looking for is some sort of signage or other recommendations?
That would be appropriate.
Okay.
I think George has his hand up. Oh, was that your hand up?
Yes, you know, out my way, they put up a sign on Foley Road, 25 miles an hour, because some people walk down the road on the wrong side of the road, okay? And a car goes by at the speed limit, and you're speeding. Well, if you walk on the right side, correct side of the road, you know, you see what's coming, you know. But if there's 3 or 4 people and they're walking on the wrong side of the road and talking to each other, they don't even pay attention to what's coming.
Thank you, George. So maybe in the second paragraph, there's a, you know, we do have a, I think if we have some additional money in the complete streets, we'll see if we can do one of those traffic flashing speed limits, but at the moment I don't have any extra money in that grant. But maybe we just take out in the third line, it says a request for lowering the speeds in this area, and just a request for additional signage, you know, and we straighten out that last sentence with that, and we know where we're going for children, you know, to alert people and children in the area. I know we also, I know the chief is aware of this, but he is shorthanded at this moment, so he doesn't have extra people to put down as a, you know, as a speed trap to catch those folks that are speeding. Would that be acceptable to both of you?
I was just going to make the recommendation, which is along the same lines of, after that comma where it says Route 7A in the village, we are requesting to consult with you about what we can do to make this area more, you know, more safe. I think that leaves it open where they sort of can come back to us and discuss with us what they would do.
That's good.
It's just a
Or
request.
just ask them what they feel that would be appropriate to warn motorists that this is a thickly settled with children.
Right.
Yeah, are we good?
Yes.
Who wants to volunteer to work on the final language
I'll do that.
with Rhonda? But we know where we're going.
Right.
Okay, all right. So, I don't know, Martin, if you want to amend your motion a bit. I don't think, I think you made a motion.
Yeah, I'm going to withdraw that motion and make a motion that I will work with Rhonda. I make a motion that I work with Rhonda on modifying the language for this letter to Francesca Emmett.
Okay, and there's also some things in the second to the last paragraph
I'll try to-
that talk about reducing the speed. We'll take those out, make it all consistent.
Right. But it's more open-ended, like, let's
Yes.
talk about this and figure something out.
Yes, and let's highlight the thickly settled and the children.
Right.
Okay?
I'll second that.
Okay, good. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, great. Now, the next one, oh, this is me. Discussion and possible action regarding a grant for technical assistance for pay-as-you-throw trash. Yes, sir? Could you just state your name? You don't,
William Gilson.
okay.
I came to this meeting for just this one item.
Could you let me set the stage for it?
I just bought a house in town, so I'm new. I work for the town of Salisbury at the transfer station, and I'm the one that hauled the garbage to the incinerator every day. And I used to say to myself, we're paying $100 a ton for water. How can we get the water out of garbage? I spent a lot of time on my day off, which was Wednesday, going around to every transfer station I could find to find out how to make it different. Pay-as-you-throw is something that the state of Connecticut was going to give each municipality money to buy the bags to start out with. I went to the Capitol and I talked to a lady who was the head of the program. She gave me a bunch of bags to take home. So I took those bags and gave them to young people that had 2 or 3 kids. At least 2 kids in that family with diapers. I said, okay, give yourself a scale, and I want you to put wet garbage in there, wet diapers in there, and you tell me how many diapers you have in there. When you pick that bag up, the bottom will fall out. And at that time, that was 20 years ago, it was going to cost young people between $60 and $65 a month for garbage bags. Now, I'm looking around the room here. I don't see many young people here. Young people are the lifeblood of the town. And if you put this bag tax in here, it's hard enough for people to pay the gas that's on now. Young people are struggling. And you're going to put the one thing that's going to kill them. Because this bag tax, for me, I could buy a bag and wouldn't use it for 2 weeks for the amount of garbage old people use. Young people are the ones that are going to use the dump the most. Because what are you going to do with wet, sloppy diapers? You going to throw them in the woods? So when you put this pay-as-you-throw, think the state is doing it all backwards. I used to be the bad guy because I used to take the knife and split open the bags. If I saw a big bag and it was full of New York Times and recyclables, I brought that bag back to town hall. I said, here, talk to this person here. The recycling went up in the town of Salisbury because people knew that I brought bags back to the town hall and squealed on them. But it made people, it woke people up. The town of Southington, they did it the easy way. They went to all the grocery stores, took all the black garbage bags, got rid of them, and put white, clear plastic bags in there. Your recycling will go up instantly. Nobody wants to be seen with cans and plastic bottles in their garbage. It's a subtle way to get the job done. Recycling starts in grammar schools. Us old folks, we are set in our ways and we won't change for nothing. I don't care how much the bag tax is exemplified. Recycling requires education. If you don't start it in the grammar schools, you'll never succeed, and your taxes for getting rid of garbage will just continually go up. I went to the town fathers with my plan. I was going to buy a truck, and I was going to go around and pick up all the wet garbage from the schools. Berkshire schools, 1,000 pounds a day of wet garbage. And I'm paying for that. Berkshire School doesn't do anything for me. It enhances the community, I understand that. But restaurants, any home that wants to give wet garbage, drive around and pick them all up. And I had a place that I could take it for free. And I told the town fathers, take me off that tractor trailer, put me on a salary, because the job requires 7 days a week, and I'm only going to work a few hours each day. They looked at me like I was on the moon somewhere. They never did it. But the town of Salisbury, about 4 months ago, decided to buy recycling barrels, and they put them between the garbage hopper and the cardboard and waste. I just went there the other day. They stopped doing it because nobody put anything in there. People are lazy. They don't care. They don't care, and they squawk and holler about the cost of the dumpster and the cost of everything else. If you enlighten them if you get the water out of garbage, the tonnage price goes plummets. But you've got to work at it. You just can't ignore the problem. The problem is you have to figure out how to get water out of the garbage.
I agree with you completely. If you've had a chance to go to the Sheffield transfer station, you will notice, and one of our attendants, Frank Clark, is here. You will notice that we have major recycling. We also have expanded greatly our electronics bin. We take batteries.
Yeah.
We also have mercury recycling, light bulbs. We also have bulky waste. We have mattress recycling. And we added, what, Frank, about 8 months ago, food recycling. Okay, so I think this town is doing a lot at the transfer station to lower what's going into the solid waste.
But is there somebody there talking about recycling all the time?
Oh, I think Frank is talking all the time. I do like the idea of clear bags. I like that. We also have newspaper cardboard. We're also bringing in a bulky rigid plastic bin, and we're bringing in a book bin that will also take cassettes, DVDs, CDs. Now, what I was going to say with this item that I brought up is that despite all of that, and again, we're talking the transfer station. I'm not talking what's going on outdoors with Casella or Roger Trucking or Barbado or any of the other haulers who pick up privately, okay? As of November, is it October or November 1st, you can't throw out, you can't put we also have textiles. We also have textile recycling, okay? All of that's happened within, well, a lot of it's happened within the last couple of years, all right? The issue is still, despite all of that Sheffield is much higher than other towns that do have a pay-as-you-throw system. I am not trying to impose a pay-as-you-throw system. What I am asking this board to approve is to investigate different ways to look at something like that, and possibly just clear bags is enough to do it, but wet garbage is usually at least 25% of what's going into solid waste. And we do have in Massachusetts the ban on textiles and the ban on mattresses, but also we have a half ton. So Berkshire School and the restaurants, if they generate, they've upped or they've lowered the amount that you can generate in food waste without having to properly dispose of it. So I don't know if that's coming to our residents in time, but we do offer the food recycling option. So what I had wanted to do under this request for a technical assistance grant under the state's retract system, it's no cost to us. We did this once before when we looked at putting to see if we had any part of our recycling center and our transfer station that we could take raw compost at, food waste the way that Egremont does. There was no room. So I'm interested in seeing if there are ways that we can continue to reduce the amount of stuff that's going in, particularly the solid waste, and is not going into recycling. I do agree with you. People do not change their habits, and we have tried to do a pretty big education. We've just come out out with a brand-new brochure that even Frank hasn't seen, and it will have a companion brochure when I finish it, that what do you do with eyeglasses, what do you do with propane, what do you do with copier, toner stuff, but I haven't gotten to that yet. So, again, I'm not trying to impose anything on anybody. I'm trying to do a little research here. I can't do that research without putting in a request for a technical assistance grant, which will cost this town nothing. I'm willing to be the one to work with them. I would report back to the board what comes up, and that's what I'm asking for tonight.
But the technical assistance is young people.
What?
In your page you throw, if you include young people with children and find out what the feedback is from them, if you're going to keep them in town, if you're going to keep them employed here, they have to pay for babysitting, they have to pay for all these things. And one more tax, bag tax, is not good for young people.
Well, now, this could be worked a couple of ways. One, people that are of a certain income group, they have lower charges. People who are of a certain age group with children, they have a different pay schedule, okay? And we also, as we just, the town has been very, I think, clever in how it has encouraged certain things to happen by selling coupons to be able to do certain things. Like if you want a mattress recycle, rather than having to schlep it someplace, you pay a certain amount, and that's basically what we're paying to get rid of it. So we've kind of done this coupon idea. So it may be that if something, again, we haven't done the research, so we don't know. It may be that your fee in another whatever year or so is not $180 or $90. It's $50 and you get a bag a week. I don't know. It has to be worked out. I'm not looking to put any more burden on any taxpayers or any young people, but I am looking for ways to see if we can lower our solid waste. Because one, it costs a lot. Two, we're running out of landfills. There's going to be no more landfills in Massachusetts by 2030. That is 8 years away. And we're going to have to schlep it over to Connecticut or New York, and it's going to cost. So,
Connecticut, we're going to Alabama.
yeah, and should we be taking our trash to Alabama? Is that economic justice or equity? So maybe we just need to look at a couple of other ways to do it. But I do appreciate your comments, because these are things that I have been thinking about a lot.
Well, pay as you throw is one of those items. There's alternatives to pay as you throw.
And I'd like to have the opportunity to look at it.
Has all these grants, it's all this free money and all this stuff. It's a big bunch of baloney, because the young people are the ones who suffer. So I'm here talking about young families. I've been supporting young families all my whole life. I go to selectmen's meetings and I speak up for the young people.
Well, we
We
thank
appreciate
you for
that.
coming, and we hope that we will see you again. Okay?
Thank you.
And if you want to leave your name and phone number with Jill before you leave tonight, I will make sure to include you in this conversation. Okay? If it's approved by the board. Okay. What do you want to do?
I think it's a good idea to go ahead and investigate it.
I'll second that.
So we have a motion and a second for a technical assistance to grant to investigate, pay as you throw. There is, and other ideas, there's nothing that's going to come out of this except a report back to this board.
Sure.
Okay, and then any further action would be open to, of course, town comments and scrutiny, and we'll take it from there.
Very good, thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. And thank you, sir. The next one is discussion possible action regarding letter of interest to Berkshire Regional Planning Commission for a housing grant. That's mine too. It came to my attention recently that the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs is having a planning assistant grant application round for 23. And BRPC, Berkshire Regional Planning Commission, is looking to see if there's a number of communities that are interested in exploring this option. While it is not completely baked at this moment, the idea is that it would be housing production plan related, zoning, all of these matters that the Housing Production Plan Committee has been working on, taking it the next step. So I just kind of wrote a generic letter that would allow us to get in on this if they went forward with this. All right. I've been told two things. One, I've been told that there is a 25% match. I have also been told that DLTA funds can be used for that, and we do have a DLTA application in regarding the next step on the housing production plan. The second thing is that 25% can be made up in kind by people working on this project from the town. So I find it hard to believe that somebody from the town would not be involved in this representing Sheffield's interest. We can always refuse it.
Right.
So this is kind of a placeholder to get us in queue.
Okay. I make a motion that we sign and send this draft letter as written.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion?
No.
All those in favor? Aye. Our next item is a discussion possible action regarding a letter to the planning board. We have received, Rhonda, this is the letter that you edited?
Yes.
Right? Okay. So we have, the last planning board meeting, I guess, from listening to the tape and from feedback from some people who attended, was an interesting planning board meeting in which a lot of issues came up regarding interactions with the town administrator's office. As everybody knows, we don't have an assistant to the Board of Health, the Planning Board, the ZBA, or the Concom. And we haven't had that person since Lori took the job at the senior center. We have advertised for this, but we have had no one. We've advertised how many times? 3?
3.
Okay, 3 different times. No one has applied. No, that's not true.
Right.
We have had some people apply.
We have had interviews set up, and then they've called and canceled that they found other jobs. So it just has not been a successful campaign.
So each of the boards has kind of been asked to pitch in, and then Jill and Rhonda are doing a number of different things for the boards. Some of the boards are taking their own minutes and kind of helping put agendas together in that, but it's not that the town moved Lori over to the senior center without forethought or willy-nilly, and it's not that the town administrator and assistant town administrator have not been working on this. Anyway, so this letter, which I have in front of you, really kind of tries to address those issues, which was almost 90 minutes of negative and derogatory comments and expectations that people come in on a day when the town office is closed on Wednesday and then come in and expect things to happen 2 or 3 minutes before closing time. So we've tried to address these issues, and I don't know if you had a chance to review this. I do think it's open up for discussion across the board.
I'm in 100% support of this letter to the planning board.
I am also, but I also believe we need to have a meeting with the planning board in person.
Okay, let's take matters one at a time. So there's also been a subsequent conversation, which isn't reflected here, where the planning board chair asked us for comments on the community residents, and we forwarded to Ken again today, Ken Smith, the chair of the planning board, a letter that went out in December with the proposed language that had been approved by the board for community residents that had been run by town council. So that's been sent again, and hopefully it's very straightforward. It's an exempt use. So let's take this letter first, and then we'll talk about the meeting.
Motion to
Okay?
approve the letter is drafted for signature by the select board.
Second.
Any further conversation? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Now let's take up the meeting with the planning board. Bob, did you want to say anything more about that?
I'll add a little bit to it. There were several comments that were of interest that I find hard to believe. And most of it was from one member, but I think the only way to clear this up is that we have a meeting with the planning board face to face, and we can clear the air. You have the truths brought forward, and some of the, I would call, insecurities and suspicions that were floated at that meeting addressed face to face. So that's my opinion on that.
Martin, comments?
I think Bob's suggestion and recommendation is great, and I support it. I'd be happy to make a motion that the select board meet with the planning board to discuss these issues.
I'll second it.
Okay, so let's just talk about a few things here. I don't know if, I'm going to be gone for a little while, okay? And we also have the election on May 9th. So I don't know whether you want to try to set up a meeting with the planning board before Martin is off of the board, which can be done.
Which can be done.
Okay, and we can put the hand out if they're not available, then, we can't schedule a meeting without people being available, and that would be within probably the next, can't do it on Monday the 9th, so by Friday, probably, what is that, the 6th or 7th or something. So, otherwise it would need to wait until I am back and the new board member is seated. So I'm hearing, make a suggestion that the meeting take place before then. The two of you handle it with Rhonda and Joe.
We're going to be really tight on posting. That's all if we try to do it on Friday.
The other thing that I will
I was
add,
talking on Friday of next week. Oh my gosh,
You
you're right.
can't.
It's this week. I don't think it can happen. Yeah, I'm sorry. I've been so focused on the last few days that I forget what's going ahead. I think that's going to be difficult.
Yes.
I appreciate the suggestion, but I think we better wait. Okay, but let's pass that, let's take up this motion in second on having a formal meeting with the planning board to kind of air the issues and see if we can reset. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, let's move on. We have a discussion possible action regarding one-day alcohol permits. We have these in front of us. It looks like we have two separate ones. The American Legion Post is first with July 9th. We have the certificate of insurance. Is there a motion on this?
just a clarification. This is for, I don't see that this is an alcohol permit. It's for the town park, it's for the town park fun day, July 9th, 12 p.m. to,
Is it an alcohol?
It's a fundraiser with alcohol, yeah.
is it, well, where's, I don't see the,
You don't have to have an application to use the town park, you just have to reserve it. So maybe...
This is always our one-day alcohol permit form.
So maybe that should just be written on it for purposes.
I'm sorry, it may be just me, it looks somewhat different, and it doesn't look like an alcohol request, that's all.
Yeah.
So
We got a permit, we already got an alcohol license.
Yeah, George,
it's my own
it's fine.
misunderstanding with regard to the nature of the
Right.
permit. I'm not trying to deny it or anything else, I'm just looking at the application for permit, and I just don't see anywhere on here that it's a request for,
Usually they note on it a one-day alcohol permit.
right, that's all I'm
Okay.
saying. There's no issue here, other than it just looks different to
Sure.
me.
So do we have a motion?
I make a motion that we approve the American Legion's one-day liquor license at the town park.
I'll second that.
Okay, and that's for July 9th,
Correct.
and everything is in order. All those in favor?
Aye.
Now, the next one is for Dewey Hall for June 3rd, and this, right. We have insurance, we have that already from Dewey Hall. Okay.
I'll make a motion that we approve the one-day permit for Dewey Hall for June 3rd, 2022 as applied.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
The next item is action regarding resignation on the police department. Rhonda?
So we have a resignation from Officer Hunter Lucy, who is leaving to join the state police.
Which I think has been his goal for
Quite some time.
quite some time now. Board members, what would you like to do?
I'll make a motion that we accept Officer Hunter Lucy's resignation and that we send him a note of sincere thanks.
I'll second that.
Okay, and that we wish him well in his new position.
Most definitely.
Darn, he was a good cop.
And Sheffield would be more than happy to have him back if it doesn't work.
In a
Right.
moment, okay. Yes, all right. So I think everyone kind of needs to read his letter, and we'll take that up at a later date. We have a motion of acceptance of resignation and a letter of support for his service to the town. And any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Next, oh, good, we're at board member items. This has been a long agenda. Martin?
I have nothing, thank you. It's been an incredible pleasure working with you all.
Bob?
That's all I want to say.
Just would like to thank Martin. It's been a pleasure and interesting to say the least. And I look forward to working with you still on other committees and meetings and boards.
Thank you.
I really want to thank Martin for his last 3 years. He's been incredibly dedicated. He's been a wonderful colleague to work with. I think at times we haven't always agreed on things, but that's good on a board, as long as everybody's respectful and we come to kind of what we need to come to, even if that's not a unanimous vote. Martin's taken on a lot of projects. He's done a lot of work behind the scenes that no one is aware of, and he's just been a real pleasure to work with. So I thank you, Martin.
Thank you very much.
And as we said with Officer Lucy, you are welcome back at any time, and I hope you continue to have as much love for Sheffield as you have shown through your activities and your work on this board.
I definitely will, and I just wanted to let you know, Renee, that I often disagree with my wife as well, but we still get along.
Yes. Disagreement is good as long as it doesn't escalate much further than that. Yeah, it's, I think, one of the real challenges in today's life, and a little bit of commentary here, is to disagree with people and to do so in a respectful, listening, kind, and open manner, and then work toward the points of agreement rather than disagreement. I think that is unfortunately becoming a lost art, and we all can learn to do that better. I don't think there's any of us that cannot improve that skill. It's definitely needed. I don't think I have any other board items, but I do encourage everyone to go out and vote on May 9th. I think the hours of voting at the senior center are 9 to 7. Okay, 9 to 7. We have our wonderful machine, so the results should be available shortly after the polls close. And I thank our registrars and poll workers in advance. So,
Board member.
I have no more.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure that you
Ask
asked.
you?
You did, and the only thing I had was
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay,
sorry.
all right.
thanking Martin.
Rhonda, how about you? Town administrator items.
So I also agree to thank you, Martin, for all of your service and assistance and support. It's really been great.
Thank you very much.
And good
Enjoyed
luck
it.
with what you decide to do after you leave the board.
Thank you.
That's it. Public comment. The woman in the back, I'm sorry, I don't know your name.
Hi, my name is Mary O'Brien. I own the Ashley Falls Schoolhouse, and I've been a loyal taxpayer for over 30 years. And 3 years plus, I put up solar panels. And to this day, I have I'm asking you all to find out what I should do to be approved with my solar panels so I can be connected. I have 80 panels and it's being wasted. It's been wasted for 3 years. So I need to know what I need to do to get this done. I feel I was bullied by the electrical inspector.
All right, so I think several of us on this board and the town administrator have had conversations with you.
I'm trying.
Yeah, extensive conversations.
I've tried.
And it was my understanding that the electrical inspector would not approve the work because work was done by a non-licensed a non-licensed person. So I don't know that this board has anything more to do. It sits
A fully
with...
licensed electrical person pulled the permit, and
So-
they've done nothing about it.
So
I feel
you're-
like
So you're telling us, Mary Ellen, that the building inspector and, more importantly, the electrical inspector have not been in touch with you to tell you what needed to be done?
they did tell us what needed to be done, but it doesn't need to be done.
So
I've
that
been-
is not, with due respect, that is not your decision. You are not the electrical inspector, and
I have information, so
you need, stop, please. We take up matters under public comment that are the authority of this board.
the
This
board has no
is-
authority over my project.
Your issue needs to be resolved with the electrical inspector. It has been going on for some
3 years.
time. 3 years. So this board has spoken with the electrical inspector and asked him to look at the permits, but we are not going to tell him what to do.
Is he going to be reelected for the next?
He may be reappointed. We've had no complaints except yours.
Okay. I feel like I've been bullied by him, and I have reason to believe why.
Well, then, I think if you have an issue, and I will ask the board and Rhonda to join in, my opinion would be that if you have reason to feel that you have been bullied and not treated correctly, you put it in writing and you send it to this board, because this board does have responsibility for appointing the officials, such as the electrical inspector. But I am not going to deal with conversation like this. I want it in writing, and then I think this board would all agree to look into it. But it is our understanding from a fair amount of time being put on this that you were told what to do.
I did do that.
And if you have done that, then you will put that in writing. And the last time I checked into this, we were told that the matter still existed, where the part that could not be done by an unlicensed person had not been corrected. So that is, I'm going to ask my fellow board members to comment, and Rhonda, but
I'm in complete agreement with you, Renee. Our understanding was, as of the last correspondence that we had with you, that a non-licensed electrician had installed the solar panels, and that the advice that our electrical inspector gave you was to hire a licensed electrical person.
I did, and he inspected the entire system.
Great, send us a letter.
Send us a letter that
Okay,
tells us
because we're not
that.
going to discuss this at this meeting. We're going to wait for you to send your letter with your documentation, and we will take it up immediately and review it.
Great.
But without a written complaint.
Well, I tried to make a meeting with you over
Mary
6 times, and
You and I
nothing has been
have
done.
spent so much time on the phone. Conversation doesn't do any good beyond a certain point. The ball is in your court to document your complaint and to send it forward.
Great.
Thank you for coming
Thank you.
tonight. Any other public comment? George?
Yes, I'd like to know if the 3x5 flags for the Legion have been ordered,
Yes.
because I got everything else, and usually within a matter of days, I've got get them all. And the other thing is, I was going down to Barrington today, delivering meals on wheels, and I was wondering if that's on the agenda to be paved within this year, because it's breaking up something fierce.
No.
What is that?
Barrington Road. Is it on the schedule to be
It needs to be
paid?
blacktop.
Oh,
It's
no.
breaking up fast.
No. But thank you.
Catherine Miller, 801
Cleveland.
almost said it, Lane. I have a request. It's not just from me, it's from a lot of people. And I know this is not your fault, but you maybe can fix it. Annual or special town meetings are an extremely difficult and painful experience for large numbers of people in this community who have hearing difficulties. I'm not amongst them, but I have had so many folks, not only from last night's meeting, but from the one previously, say to me, why can't we hear? And they can't. There's too much, I don't know if it's a feedback or what, but at the April town meeting, I had 2 elderly people, characters, who sat 3 rows behind me. And when I left the meeting, they said, we don't know what just happened, but every time we saw you raise your hand, we raised ours.
That's a lot of confidence in you, Catherine.
I love it, but that's not the point. The point is, it's very, very difficult to hear. Not only from the folks at the front table, but even with the microphones that are in the audience. I was sitting right next to one last night, and part of the time, I couldn't even hear what was being said then. So I think that we need to look at ways to make it possible for people to actually hear. Because some folks say, I'm not going to go to the meeting, I don't know what's going on, can't hear it. So to me, that requires some kind of attention, perhaps by the school.
Absolutely, absolutely. Martin, thank you, Catherine.
Yeah, I mean, I think we always try to ask people, can you hear us?
Right.
Can we speak up and so forth? I know there were a number of speakers last night. Sari, who I love dearly, as I do all our citizens, but when she speaks, no matter if the microphone's right here, you can't hear what she's saying, and I have to really strain, and I don't have hearing problems, but we do try to ask people, raise your hand if, can you hear us? Or if you can, I know the board will take it under advisement as well. It's an issue, but unless we know about it, which we now do, and we've heard before, then
Well, I
we'll
think
try to
this
improve.
also involves the Southern Berkshire TAC Pack sound system.
Acoustics are not good.
And the
No, they're not.
acoustics are not good. I know we have 24 pocket talkers, little personal hearing amplifiers that are available. We used to haul them over there and nobody took them to use them. So, maybe we start doing that again. But, I wonder, we will talk with Chris about this. I do think the hearing was better when we had a couple of people who would go to the speaker with a portable microphone rather, and of course, then we got into COVID and, all of that sort of stuff. But I think people having a portable microphone brought to them, I think improved the acoustics.
Right.
Okay, rather than those standing microphones. Yeah, there were 101 people last night at town meeting, which was, at least in my view, disappointing to say the least. We have, I think, 2,100 registered voters, and so an extremely small percent, good citizens all, following Catherine's lead, decided what the matter was going to be. But we had 300 and something for the special town meeting, okay? So it's what's important that brings people out. But yes, thank you. I do wear a hearing aid, and I walked away last night thinking, oh my gosh, what were half the people saying? It was very difficult to hear. So, yeah. Thank you, Catherine. Pat, did you have your hand
I
up?
just wanted to mention those pocket talkers.
Okay, yes. What about them? Anything?
We have them.
Yes, the library has 12, and we have 12. We got those through a grant, and I've used them before, and they're really good. Some people say that if the acoustics aren't good, they're not good, but we will look into this, and I don't know if there's any other place to even think about town meeting that has, the capacity. I don't know if the gym is better, but that's not as comfortable.
I think acknowledging at the beginning, which I know you've done in the past, that you're trying your best to make it possible for people to hear, but if we all can get past COVID or wear masks, pull people in a little bit. In other words, instead of letting them sit out in the wings where who knows what's happening, suggest they sit in the center and say, look, we have these, whatever you call them, for those who need them, but come up closer. Don't be afraid.
Oh, yeah. There was nobody within, how many, and they lined the
Yeah,
aisles.
I think,
and
and then if they can't hear, it's their fault in large measure, because they're
Okay,
not-
so we'll have you make that announcement, Catherine.
I hear it's pretty good.
Every time we try to ask people to move down, it's kind of, the joke used to be in church, you stay in the back for some reason. But thank you for bringing this up. Yeah.
And there is a chance they can turn up the amps so that we can hear, but
I
it
hope
may be a
so.
little too loud.
Yeah,
I think-
or feedback
Or
issues.
feedback issues,
Yeah.
so, but I think
We'll
that
check
there
into
should
it.
be better,
Yeah.
enough technology there where they can get the sound
Yeah.
right.
And I know Chris Thompson checks everything. I don't know if stuff happens when people come into the room or quite what, or most of us don't know how to use a microphone. I'm not sure what happens because he's very devoted in setting everything up.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Any other public comment?
Motion to
Mark, your
adjourn?
last meeting.
Motion to
It has been
adjourn.
a true pleasure.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight, and thank you, CTSB. This meeting is adjourned.